Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Between the Sharks. We're back with the Hollywood Camaro, and she is down. It's a big, big day. It's getting started bright and early with a couple little brown dog coffee, and we're gonna see if we can make this Camaro run again. It's unfortunately in pieces because we lost cylinder number 5 to a throttle return spring that someone in this car's history had dropped into the intake and either didn't know about, forgot about, or ignored.
Sometimes we make a mistake.
We've got our brand new to us cylinder heads remanufactured off eBay, and we'll be replacing both cylinder heads today. So that one's got to come off. Done, all neat and pretty. On with the show. This looks like Felpro blue, but if this is a Felpro gasket, that seems to suggest somebody's been in here before. Super gentle. All right, dudes and doodads, I cleaned up just a little bit, gave it a little scrub on the pistons, and I was like, man, this thing is trying to rebuild itself. And then I look closer. Yeah, it's been rebuilt. Those are 30 over pistons. So the plot thickens. A, how many miles are really on this thing? B, how many miles are on that thing? Was the engine tired? They rebuilt it, but didn't do the heads, maybe. I don't know. I'm lost, but that does explain why it didn't seem to burn any oil and why the oil pressure was so good. Potentially, with the new heads, I'm not gonna say it. I can't jinx myself anymore. I've been kind of unlucky on this one, so hopefully my luck is turning around. Man, that thing sure cleaned up. Oh, backbreaker 3000. It's not out there heavy, but you gotta lean over everything, you know? There we go. Crazy. Okay. All right, gang. We're slowly moving around in here. This goes to the exhaust butterfly that somebody put in the comments that I didn't know nothing about. I don't know how to get it out of there, but we'll figure it out at some point, like right now. Yeah. Tell you I've done that a million times. It's getting hot out here, gang. I'm getting my butt whooped by like difficult to get to bolts. They just didn't leave me a lot of room in this joint. And so you're doing it like 1/8 turn at a time. It takes a minute. Well, sports fans, it seems like we got a little rain coming in. I should be smart, clear all this crap out of the way, and at the very least, lift the Model T into the air and get this thing in. Coming down sideways, man. All right, gotta turn off the cowboy stories. It will behoove me to get this car in here. Unfortunately, this car, the hood is 90 miles long. It tries to compete with the Cadillac. Like it did. Maybe. There was no rain in the forecast. I'm afraid that may be as good as it gets. The front end of this thing is so long, but it is better than it was. I have enough room to get in front of it and around the sides of it, and we're somewhat out of the rain. Yeah, Saturday's almost over, but hey, we got Sunday. Because we gotta get the 3 nuts off of the exhaust because, well, I can't get the head off with the exhaust there. I can't move the exhaust any more than that. So that's gonna take a whole lot of suffering and cussing. So I'm gonna see you on the other side of that. Absolutely. Another one of those situations where it's like, oh, you thought getting that out was difficult. Wait till you gotta get it back in. Great googly moogly. Stupid tube. And this thing, I do wonder if this was our tapping that we heard. This is what one of the fine folks that watch this channel said in the comments. Karate! I got a bad feeling that this is gonna turn into a custom exhaust project. I have a better handle on that. Come on, buddy. All right, gang, this turned out just as purty as the other side. Get on there. Get on there, little buddy. All right, we got it set up at least on the dowels for now. So now we can start tightening both of these heads down. Rain's coming down again. If it starts to go sideways, we're gonna have to shut her down. I don't want anything splashing in here. And we still have to change the oil, but you know, let's see how bad it gets. Let's see how far I can get. Wish me luck, gang. This is insane! I just gotta keep going. Woo! It is so hot and humid in here and like 20 degrees colder outside. The storms are bananas. They come in out of nowhere and they are strong and then they split. It's like Captain Ron says,
Just a little squall! They come on you fast! And they leave you fast!
look how much water just came in, bouncing off the windshield. I had to shove a towel in to stop it. Heads are on and torqued down to spec. Somehow we started this process about 12 hours ago. Here's kind of where we were standing. So there's a small lake now. Water feature at the house. I truly don't know if it matters if these go back in the lifter that they came out of, but we're gonna do it anyway. I don't know how you guys do this, but I end up cheating and putting a little goop around the water passages, mostly to hold the gasket in place. I figure if I have an issue, I'm replacing the gasket anyway. Never had an issue doing it. Sometimes I goop the whole thing. Surfaces on this are pretty darn good. I think the surfaces on this are pretty darn good, so it's time to plop that thing on that thing. And we're gonna be looking a lot more like a motor, which is the direction we wanna go. That's the right direction. This thing is 1,000 times lighter than the cast iron one we pulled off. I'm not saying that like it's gonna make this thing fast. I'm saying that like it's gonna save my back. Intake's on. This shouldn't be so exciting, but it's exciting. I had these valve covers on the shelf. Were there ever a time for bow tie Chevrolet valve covers? It's right here on a Camaro. You know, just eyeball it. I feel good about it. You guys feel good about it? I feel good about it. Fine. Okay, relax, relax. Yeah, totally irreverent. So this is gonna work out okay. Dropped in the oil breather thing. So this is gonna let fresh air in the same way we had it. This will be a PCV and we'll have a PCV on the other side. So I dropped the distributor in. That is the brandy new one that I bought while in the middle of Texas at our last stop on the road trip before this thing went 950 miles, 16 hours on 7 cylinders. So if you have not seen that video, check it out right there. I think it's like 10:45 at night. So we've been at this almost 14 hours. What else were you supposed to do with your Saturday? All right, gang, it's Sunday, home stretch, which means there's no way we're getting done today. Things just go wrong. We got the bagpipers of Greater North Georgia humming away at us because, well, it's the weekend. So everybody's got to they just turn their leaf blower on and walk away. I'm putting money on the exhaust being the thing that's gonna ruin my day, but place your bets, gang. It's gonna be something. I mean, ultimately it's gonna be me, but like, in what way, you know? Dang. We've got to do all the mods from desmogging it. We need to figure out how to mount the alternator back in, but we're going to have to come up with a smaller, shorter belt because we removed the smog pump. So we're going to need a shorter belt for that. We've got to somehow squeeze this exhaust back in here, but we're removing this butterfly, which is going to make something an inch too short. It's a billion degrees in the shop right now, so I'm going to dive into some of the stuff that I'm dreading first. So as I get more tired, I'm less likely to damage things or hurt myself. So we're going to start with the exhaust. I got to plug these holes. I don't know what they do in Smogland, but we are deleting them. So I just got some brass plugs. Captain's log. I may have hit it a little too hard yesterday. I just spent 15 minutes trying to figure out why I couldn't get the thermostat to thread into a spark plug hole. Now, if that doesn't mean anything to you, they're just entirely different sizes for a reason. All right, it's finally starting to cool off today. It's starting to look more like an engine. Just been putting the stuff back together that we took apart. I've been at it like 6 or 7 hours today, plus the 12 we did yesterday. Someone do the calculus on that, like 18, 19 hours so far. Today I was moving a lot slower because I think I overdid it yesterday, but now it's cooling off a little bit. Sun's going down out there. Dudes, dudettes, I'm getting my butt whooped. It's another hour or two under the car. Somehow I managed to get the exhaust flange back on, but I cannot get this oil filter out. This happens every once in a while. I don't know why some get stuck. I blame a gorilla that put them on, but I don't really, I don't know why, but I'll show you in a second. It's bad. We're gonna have to go nuclear. The great irony here is that I've got cardboard half in the garage, half out. I have a lift right there that I've spent hard-earned money on after many, many hours of work. And here we are. I mean, I cannot get it to budge. I'm gonna try a little longer, and then we're gonna have to hammer a screwdriver into it and then try to turn it, which usually also doesn't work very well. Like, just an oil filter, but it's killing me. Here we go. This is crazy. I'm finally getting it to move, but it's like still not really coming loose. There we go. For crying out loud. Sometimes they just beat you up, man. Make a mess, gonna run down my arm. This is the end of the night for us for sure, fellers. Great googly moogly. All right, there we go. Morning, folks. Sometimes when you're working real hard, you're also working real dumb because you're tired. So now I've got to do some exhaust customizing, and I'm gonna kind of continue to work real dumb because I don't want to take this all off the car. So I'm gonna see if I can sneak my Sawzall in here and do a little karate right about there so that we can extend it for the piece we had to remove that was smog equipment. I'll show you in a minute. Now this would have been way easier when the exhaust was hanging on the ground, but I was a tryhard and got the other side on last night with a great deal of effort. I don't want to take it off this morning, so I'll need to cut it just high enough to leave enough for an exhaust clamp. I don't know if I can do it from here. Oh God, yeah, that is still, it's just a great big irony. I'm working around a lift, like ducking under it, trying not to brain myself, where putting exhaust on this thing would be super, super easy up on a lift. All right, kind of, all right, come on, come on. Yeah, get out of there. Work with me now, please. That thing will jam up on there. We got this little guy to extend to 5. And then we'll put some clampy madoos. We're looking for the shortest version to get it running, because if it doesn't even run, custom exhaust isn't going to do us a darn thing. Well, sports fans, I've done 28 different versions of this, but I'm also already filthy, and I feel like I've been at it about 15 minutes. Which reminds me of a funny story. Back in the day, I worked at a little hot rod shop, and within 5 minutes of being there, I would just be completely filthy. Now somehow my boss would manage to get through the day looking like he was still ready for a Sunday dinner. So the nickname I got was Pigpen. You know, but at some point in my life I learned you can only get so dirty. So like, once you're there, you're just there and it doesn't get any worse. But like the transition from clean to dirty, people try to prevent that. I commit, man. It's kind of like working in the rain. You can only get so wet. Once you're soaked, you're soaked. So you may as well just get soaked and move on with your life. Well, 2.5 hours later, all I really had to do was take the manifold off, cut the exhaust to pieces, remove the valve cover, pull both heater hoses, put the thing back on, and at this point we have exhaust that is guaranteed to leak like a sieve. Oh, the trick to trying to get some kind of exhaust on this thing to start it up is so that we can hear. Because if the exhaust is just blowing everything out, it's going to be very difficult to hear things trying to go full RUD, which is rapid unintended disassembly. Again, putting a motor together is a lot like baking a cake. Once the ingredients are all mixed together and you throw that in the oven, there's no getting the ingredients back out. All right, gang, after 24, 25 hours of work, we are about to start our pre-flight checklist, which is kind of exciting, but also nerve-wracking. It's the kind of stuff we got to do right before we fire the thing up. So we need fluids. We need to add water or coolant. We're probably going to do water, do a little bit of a flush, because these heads were on the shelf for a while, probably have some flaky, crusty, rusty stuff in it. We need to add oil. Got a new filter on last night, but it's bone dry right now. Plugs, wires, and we'll hook up our timing light and we'll turn the engine over without any fuel. That way we can check the timing and make sure that we're getting oil up to the top end. No reason to believe we're not, but at the very least we want to prime the system because we got brand new everything up there. Shouldn't be this nervous, but you know, it's like baking a cake. Keep saying it, it's like baking a cake. Once it's in the oven, look, whatever you did before that is too late. So we're already past that point. So there's nothing to worry about. If I did it wrong, I gotta fix it. If I break it again, I gotta fix it. It's kind of the theme. I gotta fix it. And it is pouring out of somewhere. Oh no. Well, I got a big puddle of oil, but I don't know where it's coming from. Filter seems dry. Yeah, apparently I chose not to tighten the valve cover. So that'll definitely leak a little Earl, especially when you're pouring it right in there. When you're like, you know, tired, it's little things. Hopefully I didn't forget anything more important than that. You know, we did the heavy lifting on day 1, I think. Can't remember back that far. Round 2. This is never gonna work. And we're gonna find out how many of the hoses leak, and more importantly, if the oil pan magically fills up with water, we'll know I did something wrong. Now you do want to run coolant and not just straight water, because that stuff has some anti-corrosive situations all up in the mix. Also, if you got a bunch of jalopies like I do, if you're like, oh, it's summer, it's fine, I'm gonna test this out and run some water, don't forget, it's gonna get cold eventually. And your life may move on and you may forget about it, but the water won't forget that it's water. Just make sure it's not all in here. So far, so good. So we'll do our usual thing in here and we'll run it until the thermostat opens. That's really wishful thinking. What I'm saying is if we get it running, we'll run it till the thermostat opens, make everything cycling, and then we'll top it off. Well, every car's got its quirks. Way down yonder, there's a starter. And to use my little remote start button, I gotta get to it, and I can't. I reached up from the bottom. I just can't seem to get, I can't get something that big jammed in there. It's just not happening. So what I've done is I've clamped my longest needle nose pliers using a zip tie around that terminal, and I'm gonna try to send juice through the tool to see if I can get this engine to turn over. I would like to be out here toward the front when we first start rotating it so I can hear everything and listen to it. So we'll see if this decides to just catch everything on fire. The gas is still crimped off. There's no fuel in the carburetor. It's a fresh rebuild. So hopefully, my plan is to turn this engine over remotely, get my eyeballs on the timing, hopefully get oil up to the top end, and then we'll connect the fuel lines. And hopefully the very last thing we're gonna do is the throttle return spring. Just ceremonially, considering that's what got us here in the first place. It goes on the outside of the engine, not the inside, in case you're wondering. This is when you get all nervous and you get the butterflies in your stomach. You know, like you're gonna go meet a pretty girl, except that's way more fun than wondering what you might have messed up deep inside the engine. That's where we're at right now. Our first go, we're gonna have no power to the ignition. The idea is to just spin the motor, prime the oil a little bit, and listen for calamity. All right, no whammies. All right. You know what, I wonder, maybe I'll do this with the key till we get some oil pressure. That might be good. There we go. It's creeping up. All right, that's what we want. All right, we got the full Griswold going on here. Looks like all the Christmas lights plugged into one outlet. Unfortunately for us on this one, we got to look straight down over the top, right into there. I don't know why they did that. I just don't know. But they did it, so that's how we got to do it. Got to turn the key on so the ignition's running so that we get some sparkulations, and then we can check our initial timing. If we're in the ballpark, which is, you know, I eyeballed it. And always keep one of these around. It's not a joke. I mean, keep it around all the time. There should be another one somewhere by the door. But it's not just this that's at risk. If this goes, then that goes, then that goes, maybe that goes, like, oh yeah, and we got 2 more cars through that wall. So like, you just gotta be careful. Accidents happen, mistakes happen, but if you're semi-prepared for them, know thyself, then you can limit how catastrophic they are. Speaking of catastrophic, let's go. All right, we went ahead and made a gas line for now, and we are going to put on the final piece before we forget. These go on the outside of the engine. A little feller just like this is what got us into all this trouble. All right, gang, nothing to it but to do it. This thing never let me down. It took me over 1,000 miles on 7 cylinders through some really rural parts of the country where it would have been pretty tricky to get any help. And so I'm just trying to do right by it. I'm trying not to quit it. I'm trying not to let it down. And so hopefully I didn't. Release the fuel line. And right now I have the negative battery cable vice gripped on. So that is my emergency disconnect. Gang, I am so nervous. Should send some fuel up. We gotta fill the bowls. Not seeing any fuel yet. All right, we'll just give it a little squirt before we fill the bowls. You can fill them through the vents, but let's just give it a little bit. See what it does. All right. Fuel now. there? We're just leaking fuel here. Leaking fuel. From where? Everywhere. Okay. But it ran. It ran! Well, my emergency negative battery disconnect didn't work at all. I actually don't know why it didn't. For some reason, my battery disconnect didn't work. I pulled the negative and it still kept firing. I'm at great risk of bodily harm to myself by being in here. I think I just need to push the car to the outside land. We'll see if we can get it fired up, do the timing, do the whole thing, and just let it run for a few minutes, get up to temperature. It sounds kind of lousy, but don't forget we have a big exhaust leak right down here that we have not taken care of. Come on, buddy. Oh, I can't get no traction. Gonna fire it up, see if we can put it in gear and just back it out. Man! Plenty of oil pressure. Sparks right off. Guys, so rad. Didn't even hesitate pulling in reverse. Like, not that I thought it would, but like, it's not tuned. We haven't done anything to it. Look at this wreckage. Man, it's running great. We're just gonna keep filling that up. Man. Guys, it's doing so good. So good. So good. All I can really let it do is warm up now. Let it get through a full heating cycle. All right, it's warming up. We're waiting for the thermostat to open. So there goes that. I'm just letting it bubble out, and then we'll cap it. All right, our fans just came on. Excellent. Man, this thing is running like a top. I'm so happy for it. More so than me even. I mean, this thing's ready to go back across the country now. Maybe it's like a cowboy and his horse. Like, you just feel an obligation to a car that whooped so much butt for you that didn't quit, you know? Man, it's running so good, I hardly want to shut it off. But it's been at temperature for over 10 minutes. The fan is coming on, it's kicking off. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Plenty of oil pressure, temperature is maintaining. Idling super smooth. Incredible. I mean, this is why I love an edelbrock carburetor, but you know, man. And the crazy thing is we haven't tuned this at all. This is just the idle mixture screws out a turn and a half, which is like the baseline. We got to put a vacuum gauge on and dial everything in, but all right, gang, I could not be more pleased with the results that we just got. Doesn't mean everything's perfect. We still have things to do. Things could still go wrong from here. But right now, like, this thing's a champion. Absolute champion. I'm thrilled about it. I can't thank you guys enough for watching. I swear the people that watch this channel and comment are the most supportive fan base in all of YouTube land. And I genuinely appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. Burgle, 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 burgle. I gotta try to de-stink this thing. It's not great, but it's way better. That's what we're all about here between the sharks. More better. Perfection is not something we strive for, because we like to keep our goals attainable, gang. I'm gonna bang the vacuum gauge onto the manifold vacuum port on the carburetor. We're gonna work from there. So we're just adjusting the idle mixture screws for max vacuum. That's it. Turn it out until the vacuum stops going up, then creep it back in. Both idle mixture screws were turned 1 1/2 turns out. That's your baseline. It ran like that immediately because edelbrock. And then to dial it in, you just keep opening the idle mixture screws until you get max vacuum. It's kind of like max RPM, but it's different. And when you stop getting response, you know, turn it, let it sit and adjust, and turn it, let it sit and adjust. When you stop getting results, figure out if you can roll it back in without making a change, and you find that sweet spot. But if you keep getting a ton of results out of your idle mixture screw and the idle keeps going up and up and up and up and up, well, you can back off the actual idle setting screw right here. You kind of want to get your max vacuum out of your mixture screws and adjust your idle screw to that. Remember that time the hood flew open? All right, gang. Like Captain Ron says, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen out there. So it's time to test drive it. It's always a little nerve-wracking, you know. It's just how it is. It's a lot of work to get to this point. It can all come rapidly undone. All right, I just cleaned everything. I got to step over all this mud. All right, gang. Being back in the driver's seat is a little bit nostalgic and a little bit PTSD. Here we go. Fires right up. Gotta get these windows open. Poof! Those windows seal all too well. Man, it's got so much more power. A whole cylinder more at least. I am just barely touching the throttle. After you install a rebuilt carburetor, you might have issues coming to a stop. You didn't set the bowls. If you didn't set the floats right, it can be a little bit of an issue. I mean, I'm barely on the throttle, and it's just pulling this car straight down the road, just the way it's supposed to. I mean, it's got 308 gears, so this car is not quick, but it's got plenty of juice to get up to speed. All right, this is the hill that showed us we were like really toast after our attempted tune-up. Buddy. Yeah. comments is gonna say, congratulations, it's doing what it's supposed to. But like, you know, it might not be. This is something to get excited about. Man, it's doing great. I couldn't be happier right now. The exhaust is a little bit tinny because of that inherent leak that we put in by, you know, cutting the exhaust pipe and then sleeving it and never putting a clamp on it. But outside of that, runs good, sounds good, has a ton of power right now. So at this point, the thing to do is to start moving it into longer and longer trips like you would any other car. Concentric circles further and further away from home, which is infinitely easier than starting 2,200 miles from home and hoping that you don't have an issue. Back in rotation, gang, back in rotation. We got a lot to do on this channel. I really appreciate you guys watching. I don't know what we should do with this in the long term. I've got a lot of cars now, like a lot. And part of me thinks that this would be an excellent starter car for somebody. We'll go over why maybe in another video, because I really think it's worth looking at the 70s cars as really good starter classic cars for a daily driver that you want to learn to work on. But yeah, it's too nice. I can't just let it sit like that. This is the last car I bought in California, sight unseen, and drove back. It's a cool car. The last thing I want to do is see it sit. So we'll see what its future holds, but for the immediate future, we are gonna keep driving it, keep making it a little bit better, and you'll see it more on the channel. Go ahead and drop something in the comments if you want to see something specific happen with it. What a huge improvement. That's awesome. What is that? Are we leaking fuel? No, just in that time that we were. Okay, we're good. All right, gang. As always, thank you very much for watching Between the Sharks, and we will see you next time. Good luck on your projects out there. All right. Camaro's back, baby.